Tuesday, everybody. All right, control yourselves. My goodness, I'm not just a piece of meat. So I think we're finally realizing the secret truth about the woke, that the number of people who actually believe in this garbage is like Brian Kilmeade's fan base. Way smaller than we think. It's true, we always assumed the woke had the numbers, but we never really knew how many. Was it 10 million? 1 million? What if it's just 500 miserable narcissists? What if it's just Keith Olbermann? The Hill reports on a new study which shows that people often appear more politically extreme than they really are just to fit in. Of course, there are some exceptions like Antifa, ISIS, and the cast of The View. But the populist report compares how much people agree with political statements when in public to them when revised in private. And the differences between stated and private opinions were as big as my quads. They're big. You'll see them later. That's a tease. For example, it turns out millennials, who tend to be progressive, are much more conservative when it comes to education. Why? Because by now they had kids, which means they don't think it's all right for a teacher to show second-grade students how to twerk. You have to wait until they're in 5th grade like mine did. Meanwhile, 74% believes parents should have more control over the curriculum. That's a difference of 26 points compared to their public opinion. That's more points than Jimmy Fallon has on his driver's license. Now, this should actually piss you off. It means that these generations masquerade to fit in rather than step up. In short, they have less backbone than a bucket of snails. It's this cowardice that enables such terrible ideas to persist. It's why I get pissed off when I see folks still wearing masks outside. They're keeping a myth alive. Plus, it keeps me from spitting gum into their mouths. I learned that from my mom. Now, I'm glad people with crazy woke ideas aren't really crazy woke at all. But does it really make a difference if the people calling me a Nazi are just trying to make friends? For example, they have way more private doubts about racism and gender ideology being taught in schools. That's big. Meaning the leading cause of stupidity is because it's cool. Would you have known that if not for this survey? You're welcome, America. You'd have to ask people in private about their beliefs, and they might not tell. So that means while they might agree when you're alone, they might not stand with you in a school board meeting. They're like that guy in the Titanic who threw on a lady's wig so he can board the lifeboat first. Remember that, fellas. Always bring a wig when you go on a cruise. For a number of reasons. It also turns out that those under 30 reject more than just my friend requests. Unlike their public personas, they don't want CEOs to pontificate on social issues. And they don't believe racism is built into American life. Again, that's hardening, but it's also infuriating. Imagine if these cowards had balls. Then we might not have had riots, or looting, or a crime wave, or even better, Democrats in power. If these stood up against the tiny throng of miserable extremists on campus or social media, America would be great. I tell them to grow a pair, but that means something totally different these days. It's true. Sadly, they're only honest within their own cranial crawl space. And it's there that they're less likely to favor speech codes or force people to wear masks. But that's meaningless because it's private. You gotta let that stuff out. This is the US, it's not Iran, for Christ's sakes. Well, not yet anyway. But it's this public lying that creates an environment where the woke exercise undeserved authority and where everyone else lies to avoid being ostracized like Fox and Friends hosts. Half of Americans admit they've avoided saying something they believe in for fear of upsetting some jackass. I live to upset jackasses. That's why I bought that billboard outside NPR. But no wonder no one trusts anything anymore, because if you're lying, then you know everybody else is lying too. The woke turned us all into the Clintons. Worse, we're like the audience members of The View, nervously agreeing that Anna Navarro seems smart. We are now siloed in tribes, and hilariously, they're tribes we don't even believe in. It's an idiotic thought that the most extreme position is now considered the safest position publicly. It's like peer pressure is turning us into a bunch of evil Knievels.
Look, Dylan, we like you. You don't have to do all this extreme stuff to fit in. You know I think setting yourself on fire is stupid, right?
Yeah, man, you're not going to end up in the record books. More likely to end up in the hospital.
So you're not going to do it, okay?
Promise? Okay. Crazy, right? You know, I never liked him anyway.
Yeah, me neither. All right.
Applaud a fiery death, you monsters! And so with dishonest media, along with Twitter's blue-check narcissists and attention-starved activists who pelt priceless art with food, that's forced everyone into hiding behind extreme beliefs. Well, it's time we start ruining their true art, which is lying, by not throwing mashed potatoes or soup at them, but the truth. Because never in history has so little done so much harm to so many. And it tells you why, once again, this show's number one, and Stephen Colbert is number two. Let's welcome tonight's guests. This first guest can spot a hoax, striking fear in fake hate crime folks. Author of Hate Crime Hoax, Dr. Wilfred Riley. People can't take their eyes off him. Out of fear, he'll steal their wallet. Host of Fox Across America, Jimmy Fallon. She hates haunted houses because the monsters get all the attention. Fox News contributor Kat Timpf. And this Halloween, he's handing out beatings. My massive sidekick in the NWA's World Television Champion, Tyrus. So, Professor, welcome to the show. It's your first time. I'm a fan of your work. You came out with this amazing book on hate crimes, and I'm always amazed that you haven't been canceled, especially with your performances on Twitter, which are often incredibly perceptive and you take a lot of risks. How come you haven't been canceled? Is this study explaining that maybe more people agree with you than we thought?
Well, first, let me say, I think you mentioned this in passing, but the jackass is probably the best symbol ever for a political party. So I just wanted to drop that. But there are probably a lot of reasons that I haven't been canceled. Being black makes it harder to call me a Nazi on down the line.
It's not as hard as you think, bro.
I feel you, brother. Yeah. They still try it, no matter how ridiculous. But at any rate, I think there are a couple reasons for that, but this is one of them. On the wonk front, I've actually read this study before. People can check that out quite seriously. Most of it ran in the Hill. Mm-hmm. And it's absolutely fascinating. 76% of people across left and right think parents should make most decisions for their kids. Mm-hmm. Only 42% of millennials think the country is especially racist. That cuts across blacks and whites. It's absolutely entertaining. The majority of people are pretty normal. And this last thing, but this is a reversal of something we already knew. Mm-hmm. We already knew people tone down those crazy tribal beliefs when they're in mixed company across political, racial lines. This is the reverse. If all you hang around with is people just like you say the craziest imaginable stuff to fit in and lead. But this is good because we now know very few true believers exist.
Right. To me, it's reassuring. It makes me sad that I might have believed in this delusion, Jimmy, that it's weird. Do you hang around with people like you or the homeless shelters? The homeless shelters are basically the closest you'll find.
Yeah, well, no, as long as we're not within 500 feet of a school, I can hang out with as many people like me as I'd like.
Does this stuff surprise you?
No, I've always believed there was a gap between what people believed publicly and privately only because of how we've changed labeling. You know what I'm saying? We took disagreement, recharacterized it as hate speech, would put a lot of pressure on people to play along with the group. Like, you think about this, something very simple. If you support voter ID, you're now considered Jim Crow on steroids. Yeah. Or if, you want to take a little kid to a strip club, you're now considered a Democrat school teacher. You know what I mean? But you get it, okay? And what we've done is, not only has it hurt political debate, but it's actually hurt the country. And a good example of that, for real, would be the wall. Democrats voted for border wall funding twice before Trump came down the escalator and said, build a wall, at which point we categorized border security as racist, which is psychotic because now everybody's getting into the border. So I think what's happened is we have, as you said, exposed like a tyranny of the minority, okay, just in time. Because social media allowed them to weaponize bad ideas quickly. Like, the only reason we didn't defund the police after Biden got elected is because he thinks they're a British rock band. But if it wasn't for that, we'd be screwed.
I get that joke.
There you go.
Hey, Kat, how's it going?
It's going so well.
Right. I'm very optimistic about this, but I wonder, does this make any difference at all? Like, does it matter that the person calling you a Nazi doesn't really mean it?
Yeah, I know. I wish we could get back to the good old days when people would just stop hating me for where I work and start hating me for who I am. Thanks. I'm not sure if that's good or not.
They applauded somebody set on fire.
Yeah, I don't know. Because like the true believers, you'll never truly win. And like, because I am a truly horrible person, I spend a lot of time on Reddit. And like, there's the Bachelor Reddit, and every day they're canceling one of the contestants for something like they follow a Republican on Instagram, or they liked a Republican's tweet. And it's like, if this is what you expect from your reality TV show contestants, you can't be tolerable. You can't be out there in the real world getting along with real people. So those people are never going to like you anyway. So it's time for everyone to stop sucking up to people who clearly suck and have sad, deluded expectations about the world.
You know, that I was going to ask you, Tyrus, what the solution would be in the idea that it's easy to say, do not take these people seriously. But if, let's say, your boss takes them seriously, or your HR department takes it seriously, you have to take it seriously. If like, for example, the example this young lady just used, what's your name again?
I'm young.
A bachelor could lose his position.
Could have, yeah.
Yeah.
Could have.
So,
well, the timing of this couldn't be any more suspect. Looks like the woke soiree is over, and now receipts are going to be handed out. They just lost 534 of their woke members at Twitter, so there's going to be a huge drop-off on the hate. And CEOs and your bosses and stuff, during the Oz period where the curtains and smoke and the bots made it look like they had these huge numbers, but every time I got a woke protest, it was like 3 people and 1 person with a really loud megaphone that were the worst representations of whatever they were trying to representate. So what we're seeing now is the jig is up, the blue check is gone. Eli came in with a sink, which means I got it. He's throwing out everything, and he's bringing his own kitchen sink. They're seeing they're going broke with woke. So now you're seeing everyone starting to go, how do we do it? Easy. Shut up.
yeah. ESG. All right. Got to roll.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.